Good evening, everybody. It's about that time. We're getting close to about 11 o'clock. You can look right here, more of a regional look of the radar. We've got a wall of severe storms, and what is happening right now is, well, let's put it this way. When this line was coming through to Middle Tennessee, there was a second line that formed out in front of it that had more of a really interesting tornado potential. And starting from about right here all the way up to here is where that second line was. And you're starting to see it blend in with this line. By no means does that take away any kind of threat that we have tonight. It's just that now we're going to see this congeal into one big line. We did have a tornado warning that was out there for Columbia and Spring Hill, and you are starting to see now new warnings being pushed way downstream. So this is giving us all a really big heads up with the weather that is coming. So we're going to go ahead and get ahead of this. That way you guys can get yourselves ready, get yourselves prepared. Um, like this, share this out, let folks know. I know there's others out there that are streaming, but I just figured it you didn't want to watch the radar for 25 years like I've been doing for the past, well, I don't know, hours. Um, but we're going to go through this together. We're going to get through this. I'm going to keep you updated. And basically, if you're coming in, this is kind of how I'm going to look at this particular event. You can see the big nasty line that is right here. Okay. Once that initial line goes through, we're done. That's it. That's all it is. All this lead up to about 10 minutes. I mean, realistically, that's all it is. But we're going to be packing a punch with the winds here, and so I'm just going to kind of go in and look and see what storms are going to be coming our way. Everything's really moving due east, so it's really from here to the state line that we're going to be looking at. These storms that were out ahead, that you can tell now they've pretty much all gotten their act together. Be interesting to see what comes of any of this, because this is in an environment that is conducive to tornadic development. We've got all the parameters in place needed for it. It's just, are these storms going to get their act together? So really, let's go in here and let's start looking at timing. Let's do that, because that's what you want to know, right? I'm going to go ahead and say these are going to be, just so we all know, because we've got plenty of time. So let's kind of walk through this and let's talk about how we're going to handle this situation. Okay. So these severe thunderstorm warnings that are coming at us, these are the ones that I was talking to you about for a couple of days that have that considerable tag. Do you see it right there where my cursor's at? That means that we've got winds of 70 miles an hour in these storms. Okay. I want everybody that's listening to me right now, if we end up getting this warning and it's a considerable, I want you to treat it like a tornado warning. I want you to go get in the lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as humanly possible. You've got 70-mile-an-hour winds. That's close to hurricane force winds. Okay. And so I definitely think that this would be something that just to protect yourself. Especially, I mean, I'm thinking about Tullahoma in particular, in my neighborhood, in your neighborhood, in my Moore County people, and my Franklin County people. We just got lots of trees. That's just all there is to it. And so I want us to be thinking about this. Now that we've been talking about it, this threat may become reality now. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and let's put a track on this thing, and let's go ahead and see, when is it going to get into our area. Okay. And so this storm's moving. It's cooking at about 55 miles an hour. Okay. So I'm going to do a storm track on this thing, and we're going to go ahead and see. I'm going to put it kind of right at that initial line, two, and then three, and then I'm going to pull it due east. Okay. That's going to get our entire area. You're going to have to wait just a second because I need to change the speed from 60 to 55. Okay. All right. And so what's going to happen is, let's just talk about big cities and then we'll go from there. Okay. So my first city that's going to come up is going to be Moore County. So we're looking at about 11:31. Okay. 11:30. Tullahoma, it's just going to be right after you, not much farther after that. So 11:40. Winchester is going to be 11:45, all the way to Swanee. Basically, almost will be midnight. So these things will get here just a little bit before, but I said midnight timing, so this is pretty accurate from what the HRRR was saying and everybody else for days. And so we can just go in here. We can look at this kind of a detailed look, but really and truthfully, where do you lie within this polygon here? We can get here to a little bit closer in. That's why I know there's others out there, but I do love Radar Omega for all of this. So there we are, guys. This is this is us, just like that. I missed that television show. Um, so Lynchburg, they've kind of it's recalculating itself. So 11:36. 11:47 Tullahoma, and I know I've got people in the Center Grove community. It's 11:45. I grew up kind of in the Raysville area, very close there in Hurricane Creek. Ridgeville, more close to me. 11:41. We'll just have to see when new warnings get issued. Does this thing get sped up or slowed down? So definitely around 11:30 time frame is when this stuff is going to be moving in. My people that are right out here on the line, it's going to be more like 11:30. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's going to be the time frame we're looking at, because let's just get right down to it. That's what we want to know. When are we going to get this stuff? And you can just think about it here. Lynchburg's 11:37. It's 11:48 at Tullahoma. What? That's 11 minutes, and it's over. That's it. Okay. So let's zoom out a little bit, kind of see that bigger picture here. And this is what's coming our way. And so think I can leave that track on for a little while. Let's see what I can. And so definitely we've got some cooking winds. This is hard. I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of hard to tell in the environment that it's in, just because this is pretty much almost a radar hole. Um, Honest to God, if I'm being honest, they need to put a radar out here somewhere in Northwest Alabama, because you've got the closest radar site would be down here in Columbus, next rad. That's the closest one, and then you got one up here, which Columbus kind of gets it too, but it's right on the edge of that one, and it's right on the edge of the Huntsville radar. And if you go to Nashville, it's right there on the edge. I think Lawrenceburg, Tennessee would be and they do have one down there, but it's not like what the National Weather Service has. So we're looking really high up in the atmosphere. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I saw in another cast, somebody was like, "Well, how come we're gonna get tornado warnings, and if there's only 20-mile-an-hour wind at the ground?" Well, you guys have to understand how it works. What happens is that the air is traveling like this. So just imagine way up here where and I'll see, did you notice I have green screen myself now, right? Pretty cool, huh? That way you can see more of me. I know it looks more like Ryan Hall, but he had a good point. You get to see more of the screen. And you've got that wind and I can illustrate this. And so you've got the wind that's literally going like this, okay? It's going like this, all right? And so when you got that wind up here toward the top that's cooking, that's that 70, 80 knots, it's going to pull some of that down. And that's where those severe thunderstorm warnings kind of kick off from. Okay. All right. Let me turn that off. And then I'm going to turn that off. And so when we start to investigate some of these winds, we're 70, 80 miles an hour in some of these winds that are coming in. And so this is, let's see here, from the radar site. I'm not, well, I could do the math, but it's quite a bit complicated. So that's about 80 miles from that particular radar site. And I just know for us, okay, from Tullahoma, um, it's about 30 miles, and that radar beam gets about 3,800 feet in the air. So just imagine we're probably 5,000 feet up. So we really can't see what's going on underneath, but we assume, hey, some of these winds right here are trying to make their way to the ground, and so that's why they're definitely keeping those severe thunderstorm warnings. And so really the main thing we want to look at, I can see right there, there's a little bit of rotation right here in this storm. And so those will be little things that we have to look and see too. Are we going to see some brief spin up tornadoes that happen in and around this line? This was one of those big supercells that just combined with that line. And sometimes when they merge, there can be a strengthening in that area of that storm. And so that doesn't really affect us right now. But what we're looking at, let me turn this part off, is just right here. So, like I said, we've got a ways, okay? We've got another 45 minutes to an hour or so. I would think within the next hour, our threat's going to be over, and we'll just have to see what happens. We're preparing for the worst. Well, we're going to hope and we're going to pray for the best. That's exactly what you do in these situations. Hopefully, you guys already have all your things ready to go. If we need to go to that safe place. So right now, these storms are getting pretty close. Um, excuse me. We are in that area where you've got, which is interesting because you've got Nashville. You basically have Nashville covering all of these counties until you get to Lincoln, and then it becomes Huntsville because of the radar site, and that's why Huntsville gets these three counties. If you didn't know that, because that radar site's right there, it makes sense. But then we're going to have to see how they're going to continue to issue these. Somebody was asking me, "Hey, do you feel like anything's going to lessen and weaken?" No, the environment. And so, if you see me look straight up, I'm looking at a secondary monitor. Let me just give you a for instance right now, okay? And this would be at 300. Okay, we're getting close to the new latest, but right now, at 10 o'clock, Nashville was 72 degrees. Okay, Memphis was 43. Okay. So Nashville's at 72, Memphis is at 43 right now because that's how strong this cold front is. Okay. That is what's driving. It's a really deep low. I've had some friends of mine and people I know, they've been complaining of headaches. If you've been sensitive to headaches, it's going to get a little worse here as this low moves through. But on the backside of this, you'll wake up, we'll be more in a high pressure situation. Hopefully that'll take care of it. And so, really, what we're looking for, okay? So, let's just kind of keep an eye on this particular storm. What we're looking for, because I want to teach you guys since we're here, all right? How many do I got over here? I got 167 of you. That's what I'm talking about. That's good stuff. I'm going to educate you guys. There won't be a test at the end, I promise. But when we start looking, I guess you can see where I'm drawing in black. You want to see where these Boeing segments are, okay? That is basically, it's like the atmosphere is giving it a shove, right? And so you're going to continue to see that Boeing, and that's where you're going to see the strongest of the winds, okay? So what does that look like when it gets to us? Don't know yet. But just to go ahead and give you an idea, that's what we're looking for in a QLCS. It's a little bit different than what we deal with if it's a supercell, okay? And so we're really going to have to be closely watching any kind of rotation that happens in and down that line. Definitely, there's some broad rotation sitting right there, right on the line there. Let me go to storm relative velocity. Yeah, that's some broad rotation right there. When you start getting the greens and the reds and they're mixed together, down there really close to, I would say, Loretto. Yeah, I was supposed to say, I said, Loretto, where's it at? And then I found it was over here. I was looking down. Um, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys something because the Storm Prediction Center. So as they give updates, we're going to go through this and kind of talk through some things together. Okay. So right now, there's really no need. We know we've got some really strong storms coming our way. We're going to go over here to the camera for just a second, and I'm going to pull up something that I guess it just came from the Storm Prediction Center. They just had a mesoscale discussion issued for us because it comes over my watch and it's not updated yet on my they haven't updated it to the website yet. And it just says severe threat continues within Weather Watch 59. They do this, when they have these watches, if there's still a threat, they'll do a mesoscale discussion. Right now, the page isn't uploaded. So we'll go there just in a second once it's ready to go. So I just hit the button preemptively. Let's see here. Okay, we'll go back to the radar for just a second. And once that, okay, so now they've extended that. I told you there was some, look there. I called that tornado warning, didn't I? I wasn't even paying attention. I called that. I said, there's some rotation right there. And so that's going to be all the way to Pulaski. So that's going to go, I don't cover Lincoln County, but I know Lincoln County very well. Being a Moore County guy, you kind of knew Fayetteville, and Park City headed down to Huntsville. But that tornado warning, okay, and so we're gonna have to keep an eye on this one because if it continues to hold strength, it may clip um, Moore County a little bit. These aren't showing signs of like strengthening and staying tornado warned for a long time, but we'll just have to wait and see. This storm right here, I watched it down here all the way in Tishmingo County. It has been rotating for quite a while. And so now we're getting into a new atmosphere that could be conducive. So I'm going to go flip it over here. And so you look at that and go, well, that doesn't look like a hook echo. But what I'm going to try to show you is you've got an inflow notch right here. So that's inflow. That's taking in that warm air. And so it's wrapping back around. So that's how these are going to look today on radar. So again, we zoom into that. Okay, it's on a tornado warning. You've got an inflow notch right here. That's where that warm air is feeding into that storm. And then we've got that downdraft coming on the backside. And that's where you're going to have your rotation. Again, it's not going to look like that classic hook echo. This is totally different situation. Okay. So just keep in mind of something, okay? You guys, we need to understand QLCSs because we tend to get a lot of these, right? But you can just see, I mean, honestly, you can tell by the way these things look right now. See how just I mean, looks like a road course or something. I mean, you look at all of that. That's because that's how much wind is interacting with these storms at the surface, and so it doesn't just have that straight line look. And so that's what we're just going to have to be paying close attention to. Okay, guys. And so I know we got a lot of people in here now. We're just going to have to just kind of keep our eyes and ears peeled. Um, and just keep looking because this stuff is barreling down at us. It's going to be here. Let me go ahead and yeah, that's a pretty nice looking notch there. And so that's kind of you'll notice that the storms are flowing this way while the line is moving this way. And the reason for that is that the winds, okay? And so I don't know if you have ever noticed that, like, what is that interesting movement? And the reason why you see these storms kind of make this movement because that's the direction of the wind at or in front of that storm. It's what's running parallel to that squall line. So it's got a tendency to want to push northeast, but yet the wind behind it is moving due west right now, or excuse me, due east. So it's pushing it. And so that's typically why you see the storms kind of have that look to them. Why they look like they're traveling northeast, but the line in and of itself is going east. And so that's why this particular storm has more of a northeast track to it, whereas the severe thunderstorm warning, the area that's going to be covering the big chunk, has an eastern look to it. Okay, so just kind of give you an idea there. I see lots of thank yous, guys. I appreciate it. Just trying to keep you guys updated. That way, we'll just be ahead of all this, and hopefully, Lord willing, we'll get through all of this, and then we can go to bed. But hey, I mean, you gotta have some Dr Pepper, man. Okay, at least the zero for me. This is good stuff. I actually like it better than Diet Dr Pepper. So I had an Alani and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. That's probably not gonna. Sometimes Alani and myself we do not agree. So, but that right there, just if I'm looking, and I don't even care. I mean, I do care what's happening up there with those people. I think that the meanest looking storm on radar right now is this one right here, and so we're just going to kind of keep an eye on it. And so you can just kind of look from my vantage point, kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, that's that res velocity. It's behind. And so yeah, you're seeing it's right in that area rotation right there. And so you may not see where these things are really close together gate to gate, kind of velocity where it's a really tight couplet tonight. And that could definitely put a tornado down and it could be down for like 2 seconds, like literally. Um, it's going to be hard to try to probably spot it on a correlation coefficient. So, yeah, it's just radar indicated right now, but you can definitely see that inflow. Raining up here in Bedford County, that's this good old rain. This one's kind of taking an interesting look. Just north of us, it's not as impressive. My wife just said, "Did you drink an Alani?" No, I did not. I learned my lesson the first time. And Lord, if I'd have drank Alani now, I'd probably never go to sleep. I'd be up all night. WKRN says that I could definitely see this right here. I do have some cameras that I could click on, but we just have to kind of be careful about this stuff. But this is kind of a look at that storm from UT Southern. And so what you'd be looking for is if you could see a little lowering of the base right in here. They have turned this camera. So it is looking right where right in there. So I mean it's hard to tell, but it looks like you got a lowering of the base right here. And so the good thing is these storms, we're going to get a ton of lightning, okay? We are going to get a ton of lightning with these storms, which will be good because if we have an issue where we do have some rotation, it almost looks like there's two lowerings. There's one here, and then there's one here. It's just hard to tell. So the storm definitely has a lowering of the base, but it's really hard to tell right now. And so that's going to be right there at UT Southern, and so that's going to be right in the path. It's looking where it needs to look. Well, if you just heard that, that means we probably just got something. Okay, they went ahead and issued the severe thunderstorm downstream for us. So I'm gonna let my NOAA guy talk. He's gonna talk for a minute. This is why you need a NOAA weather radio. And so this is how I'm gonna zoom out and show you just how big this severe thunderstorm warning is. It's basically it's like this it's this. That's it right there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look and see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, let's go ahead and get a storm track on this right now, okay? Are we still we still moving it. Good God. It's moving east at 75 miles an hour. Holy cow. You usually don't hear storms going that fast. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a storm track on that right now. And that just considerably sped up time. Let's get it right here. Let's go ahead and we got to change this to 75. Sorry if I didn't mean to alarm you by saying holy cow, but it's like he said 75. I was like, oh, they're talking about the winds. Do we have a tornado tag on this too? We do have tornado tags on this as well. So this is everything where we just need to. All right. So there it kind of sped up our times a little bit. Let me make sure that I've got this exactly right at 75 miles an hour. I want to make sure I've got that accurate for you guys. Okay. I've got mine set. I mean, you should have it. Somebody said I didn't have it set for Tullahoma. It should have gone off because that's for Coffee County right there. Make sure I'm gonna tell everybody if you've got no weather radio, make sure you have it on the right channel, and that channel would be 162.525. That would be down here in Key Springs Mountain, right where my cursor's at. That would be where you need to make sure. I had another gentleman, a friend of my wife's, that he teaches with, and he was having some issues with his NOAA weather radio and found out that he had it turned to the wrong channel. And so if the signal is weak, it will not go off. So make sure you guys have your NOAA weather radios turned to 162.525. That's out of Key Springs Mountain there in Franklin County. Okay, so all that happened, and I didn't really get to tell you about the mesoscale discussion. And so I'm gonna pull. Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull this down real quick. We're gonna read this because I want to read it for myself because I don't know what's going on yet. Let's see here. A squall line continues eastward across Middle Tennessee with history of damaging wind and hail. A cluster ahead of the main line has exhibited occasional strong rotation, will likely merge with the main line, and it just did. The moisture remains marginal with dew points in the low to mid 50s. It's 54 right now in Tullahoma. ML Cape, yeah, strong shear, continue to support strong line of thunderstorms with embedded mesovortices and potential for damaging wind and tornadoes over the next several hours. So, long story short, we just have to be prepared and ready to go. So, yeah, 162.525. That's it. Wish the map was clear. It's hard to read. Don't know what to tell you on that one. It's you could it could be your cell signal, or it could be the signal that you're watching, because I'm streaming in 4K right now. So um let's see here. I'm just gonna look. Yeah, that line is perfect. So 11:34 is when we're really by 11:30 is when that line's gonna move in, which is going to be here not too far. What's it look like for Estill? Estill Springs will be 11:45. And so that's what I'm, somebody asked me about Estill Springs. Yeah. But anyways, yes, so there's the timing of everything. And so what I would go ahead and do now that I've read all the information, we've got that considerable tag on it. I would go ahead and be making preparations like this is a tornado warning. We've already got pieces of these storms that are showing signs of rotation. And also too, we've got 70-mile-an-hour winds that are embedded in this. I'm going to go back over to velocity so we can see this. Absolutely. You can see all of that. Really what we're looking for. Let me turn this off. So we're thinking 11:30 is what we're thinking, guys. So let's just remember that. So back over here, when we're looking at anything that's in the deep blues, not just the white, but that kind of that I'm gonna call that periwinkle. um, that's where we're going to get that 70-mile-an-hour winds. And so any of this right here is above us. However, some of that's going to be reaching the ground, and it could be reaching it on the ground in multiple places. Actually, probably a good thing would be to probably go back over here for just a minute. So you can see what this is look like when it is coming in right now. Okay. So I'll take it because it's not a radar image. And so that's what we're going to be looking at here in the next 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. This is what it's going to be like. Wind blowing sideways, definitely banging that camera pretty hard for sure, up against it. And you can tell that camera is shaking a little bit. I'm trying to look at the trees below to see exactly what's going on there. Um, but that's what we're going to be looking at. Okay. So that just gives you an idea. You want to see it with your eyes. That's exactly when it's going to go. Okay. So, somebody keeps talking about kind of I see here. So we're going to be in this storm for longer than we anticipated. No, actually, it's going to be shorter than we anticipated. It's going to get here a little bit sooner than what we had thought, because that storm, what happened was basically it got re-energized when it got caught up with that other line. Just to kind of give you an idea of what it looked like. So we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to back this up just several frames so you can see what this looks like. Okay. So we're going to go back here. Okay. And what ends, I'm going to go back farther than that. Don't need to go that many frames, maybe. Okay. Come on. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, perfect. You're going to see how these were two separate lines. Okay, you guys see that there? Let me put it in the middle. My head's not in the way. And then that's going to be for the rest. And you can see how it forms into one line. And so when it's doing that, it's gaining some strength. Okay, so they just went ahead and got that severe thunderstorm warning all the way out. This will be pretty much all the way to Cowan. I'll try to get to many of your places as I can, but we need to start thinking about 11:30 and on is when it's going to start hitting us here at Lynchburg. 11:30, it's going to be 11:40 at Tullahoma. It's going to be 11:45 in Estill Springs, and as you get out farther, it's going to get closer to 12 o'clock. And so, again, we've got some very heavy winds that are going to be coming through, and I've got all my cameras up ready to go. So somebody said Center Grove. Center Grove, that's going to be right there in that 11:45 time frame. Manchester, I don't cover Manchester. It's kind of funny. I know I cover Tullahoma, but I don't cover Manchester. It's just because of time. But I will tell you, Manchester is going to be about the same way. And so I'll just go ahead, guys, since a lot of you are asking. That's fine. Let's put another storm track on it. One, two, three. Oh, it didn't write. Hang on. One. I'm counting. Come on. Uh-oh, it moved, so it's got a. Oh, I did not like that. There we go. Let's try it again. So, uh-oh. Let me, it is screwing up. Hang on just a minute. All right. It is, oh, great. It's not, my radar has decided it wants to, not work right now. So hang on. Let me turn that completely off. Let's turn it back on. Let's see if it was just a snafu. All right, let's try that again. There we go. And so we'll just go here, here, and here, all the way down to the state line. Come on. We're having issues, and there we go. All right, and we're going to say, what was that, at 75 miles an hour? There you go. And so think about where you're at on this map. And so Lynchburg, it's still 11:35. I'm going to let everybody take a second and check it out. There you go. Tullahoma, NOAA should be 162.525. That's what I've got mine set to, and I'm in Tullahoma. So let me go back to the radar. There we go. Starting to hear some thunder. There's these little cells right here that have popped out in front of basically, there's just another area of lift right in our area. You can see it underneath the pink there. But again, Lynchburg, you've got 11:35. You've got Tullahoma at 11:43. Estill at 11:46. Winchester 11:47. Cowan, you're not technically under the severe thunderstorm warning just yet, but it'll be 11:52. Suwannee, it's 11:56. That's probably going to take us all the way to Mont Eagle over here. Is it straight up at midnight? So we'll be going for just a little while. So there you go. Good. People said they're prepped. Good. Good. I like it. I appreciate you guys. Yes, be prepped, be safe. Go ahead and have a plan right now. That's what you need to do. And so I can zoom in to more areas. So there's Center Grove at 11:43. I just can't write and zoom it at the same time. It won't allow me to. Raysville, Ridgeville, Pleasant Hill. Basically, it's 11:39 or 11:40. And then you've got basically Timms Ford Lake. Just what side of the lake do you live on? Winchester's 11:49. It's going to get us all the way down here to Liberty, Belvedere, Walnut Grove down here. I know I've got people down here. My Huntland people 11:44, and you'll be just a little bit later, just because that positive slant on the storms. Okay, so that's kind of the latest right there. I'm gonna let it sit there for just a minute, and that way you guys can go ahead and what preparations are you making right now? Have you already made those preparations? Both of these severe thunderstorm warnings, this one is not tagged considerable, but this one is. It's interesting, different offices. So definitely you're starting to see it more of a linear fashion right now. But definitely they both have tornado possible tags, just because you've got so many of these little undulations, those little up inflow notches. Um, Yeah, you got to update your family, let them know what's going on, right? Family's first here, and so um, mainly the main threat, like I said, is going to be wind. Um, I'll do a storm track in just a little bit, but it's going to be here in the next 30 minutes or so. This is going to be in our area, so I'm going to go ahead and take all of that off. And basically, what's going to happen is you just need to see where are you at in this line, okay? Um, I mean, we can, that's That's how we take these situations when the QLCS. We don't worry really what's behind all this. It's just some good old stratiform rain. So what's in front of us? This little line, okay? So when that line gets to you, that's when the weather's going to be at its worst, okay? And then after that, once that's over with, you're done. It's going to rain, and that'll be it. I'm not gonna. I see y'all talking in the chat about operating a no weather radio. I would go to you want to see something funny? I would go to my actual camera and like talk to you guys. I think I've taken it off. I have. I'll go to one of my other ones that I do for the downburst. But y'all won't laugh. This is what it looks like behind me now. I've got a chair that it's attached to. Do you see that? So if I did that, it would look really funny. Yeah, the Midland. That's what I have. Okay, we gotta go back to radar. So y'all stop laughing at me. What a I got this today. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I just finally pulled the trigger. And I didn't think it was gonna come today. But yeah. I my look at my lovely wife in here. Maybe Christopher should do a training or meet somewhere to help people. I don't mind doing that. Yes, Miranda, you are exactly right. Let's see if I click it. Is it gonna? Oh man, it shows up too dang small. This needs to be bigger. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna make that bigger. Hang on, Miranda. That's not how I wanted it to work, and it's not gonna work. Forget that. Doesn't work the way it does on my other one. So yeah, absolutely. Batteries, charge phones, water, yeah, shoes in the bathroom without windows. That's where you kind of need to be. When this thing comes in, as I've been telling you guys, I treat this like I don't say that very often. I treat it like a severe thunderstorm. I mean a tornado warning, especially if you've got trees and things near your home. You just want to protect yourself. Think about it. If it's 70-mile-an-hour winds, we were thinking about a hurricane. What would you do? I mean, okay, maybe I don't need to ask that question because some of you are like, I'd go out in the front yard and take pictures. But if that's coming, you definitely, you definitely need to, definitely need to be in the middle of your home. Honestly, right now, the strongest part of the storm that's on radar is right here. It's that one that it has spawned that tornado warning. And so, real quick, I'm going to do a velocity scan on that just to see what's going on. Yeah, you can definitely see there's a little bit right there. I'm going to go to, if you want to know, if you're looking for a rotation, you want to look at storm relative velocity. And so you look at little places like this, it's not showing it not near as bad as it once was. Honestly, if I go back here to reflectivity, it's kind of flattened out. You don't really see where there's that little inflow notch anymore. And so it could just be this happens, it'll go through a cycle, it'll weaken a little bit. But yeah, that right there definitely little confluence band of lift right over Tullahoma I just noticed. And my question is, I'm wondering if that does enough to the atmosphere that would weaken it a little bit. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed on that one, but I'm not gonna be 100% sure. So there's only one tornado warning right now. That tornado warning goes for another 24 minutes. It will leave the area within 24 minutes, so I'm not worried about that. Um, they'll have to decide if they're going to extend it or they'll just allow it to expire early. And so you can definitely see here everything's taking more of a linear approach. It's not you notice this, like, it's more of a straight line now than it was even just a couple of minutes ago. If I back that up, it has a different look to it now. I don't wanna go 75 frames, though. I'll go 21. Back that up a little bit. See how much different that looks just a couple of scans ago? How it's got a lot more Boeing segments, and this just becomes almost like a linear fashion for right now. That could be a blessing also as well for us. So we've still got about well, I don't think it's gonna quite get here at 11:30. It may get a little bit later than 11:30. It may have slowed down just a minute. Still got quite a bit of wind here. So, Really, the strongest of the wind is really from this area right here. This is where we're seeing some of that really strong wind that's in that 60 to almost 70 mile an hour um, range. And so again, we're just kind of waiting. You really don't have to go down right this very second. If I was telling people, if you're already there, that's great. Get hunkered in, get comfy. But right now, we still have a little bit before my Tullahoma people, before it gets there, my Winchester people. I mean, you're getting to see it live right now. This is the latest images from the radar. There's a lot of wind out there today. I noticed definitely, and what happens too is something that happens, especially at night. We have something that happens here in the South, the low level jet. So the winds lower to the atmosphere actually detach from the wind above it to get not too complicated, and it ends up boosting. And so that's why even at night we're going, I thought storms only really got active in the heat of the day. No, they don't. Um, Not these kind of storms. And so we've definitely, I'm going to go pull up the hourly reports now since the 40400s have come in. So let's see here. Hmm. We're within 50, 40. I see here. Let me see. I'm looking at some point values. Okay, we're basically sitting almost at 50 knots of bulk shear, which that's enough to definitely sustain. Um, Mid-level capes at 500. It's kind of me. Let's see here. Surface base. Even the surface base cape isn't really anything. So we've got a little bit of cape. It's not a lot. But when you have winds, let's see here at 850 millibars. I want to see what's cooking there. You've got 800. Okay, so the winds at 850 millibars, which is not about a couple thousand feet above the surface. Okay, they're going at 60 knots right now, and so if you did the math on 60 knots, that's almost you're really close to 70 miles an hour. Okay, um, so you definitely have some winds that are cooking right above our heads. And then if I looked at the 500 millibar, it's also there. In fact, it's a little bit more. So we've got some winds that are right above us that are just howling. And that's what's keeping these storms alive. That's what's pushing them to that kind of limit on as far as the severity. Let's see here. If you want to see what I'm looking at, I'll show you. Since we're just kind of waiting here, I'm going to pull this back down. And so this is what I'm looking at. So from the Storm Prediction Center, this is kind of their analysis of what's going on. And so one of the things I look for is bulk shear, which puts us really close to 50, um, 50 knots, which is pretty strong for our area, more a little bit stronger than anywhere else currently in the area. So it'll be interesting to see when the storms get a little bit closer to us. Do they kind of ramp up in intensity a little bit? Um, 850 millibar. I don't want to see that one. That's kind of crazy looking. You've got 60 knots right here coming in. Let's see here. Surface base. This was, yeah, I said this wasn't really super impressive, and it's not really. One of the things that I will look at too. I'm going to look at something called surface vorticity and the cape at 3 level. Basically, if I can try to find some situations where I can get these blue and red lines to be inside of one another, that could be where we could see a spin up tornado. And it's kind of right over our area, but the blue lines are a little bit back to the west. So that means may not see anything. Over here, up here in Michigan, that would be like, okay, we probably would have a tornado warning or something possible. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at up on the top screen to kind of give me some real time of what's going on in the atmosphere. Looks like to me, based off what I'm looking at here, um, it appears, yep, they're going to allow that tornado warning to expire because it really wasn't showing any kind of tornado warning. And so it looks like maybe this storm, this part may clip us in Tullahoma, maybe. So we'll just have to wait and continue to see that track because it is that's kind of taking more of a northeast as that wind right along the edge, running parallel to the actual squall line, is pushing that up to the north and east. You're seeing just a little bit of convection that's happening out here in front. If you guys in Estill and Winchester get some rain, know this has absolutely zero to do with what's going on um, with the severe weather. That's just some lift that happened, and the environment was there to create some convection, some rain. Could be some storms in there. But really, when I'm looking at, you can kind of see we got a little bowing happening right here, a little bit right there. But you see those purples? You're probably, let me see here. There could be some hail that's embedded inside of some of this. Yeah, the hail will be less than 3/4 of an inch. But if I said, where's the hail at? It's when those DBZ returns right here are in the purples. Yeah, somebody said the radio is 162.525. Yes, that is it. 162.525. Let me go back to radar now. And I will all right. So somebody said I'm doing a dang good job. Well, great. Well, let me go get my Norweather radio while I'm thinking about it. Watch it go off in my hands. Scare me half to death. Yep. That wasn't good. I was gonna get it, and it decided it didn't want to work when I unplugged it. One of my battery, I for some reason there was only 2 batteries in it. I thought I had 3. I guess I can't count. It's all right. I've got everything I need right in front of me. So, anyways, so much for that. All right. So I'm gonna pull up. All right. So we're just like I said, we're just kind of watching. There's not much I'm gonna say right now. The storms are not in here just yet. I'm noticing my feed. There's a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that are coming up all over my Facebook page because they're all automated to do so. So if you see me posting, especially if you guys favorite me and you get alerts when I post things, it's probably going off quite a bit right this very second. So I apologize for that. It's just kind of part of it. All right. So again, we're just in severe weather mode. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings that are issued for pretty much the all of Moore County, all of the Tullahoma and Coffee County area. We've got Winchester down here, Franklin County. It kind of cuts off. Naturally assume that the National Weather Service would extend that all the way to the line. We'll just have to wait and see because that's got 44 minutes on it. It's got 14 minutes till this one expires. And so they'll have to re-up this one because in 14 minutes, that's not going to make it all the way to the edge of Coffee County. These storms have actually slowed down a little bit. When they first joined with that line, they were cooking at 75 miles an hour, and they've kind of slowed down a little bit. And so again, let's go ahead and let's see here. 31. See, yeah, they've slowed down quite a bit. I will see if there's any updates on the speed of these things. Yeah. See, it's saying it's moving east at 45 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here because that was more recent. I'm going to go ahead and do another track here. Let's go all the way to the east. Let's go to the edge of Franklin County. We're going to change this up and we're going to say 45 miles an hour, not 75 miles an hour. So that's going to still put it, we still got about 15 minutes. Okay, there we go. So now it's more like 12 o'clock. Okay, so anyways, they slowed down. And so when I did that storm track, they were cooking, and you got to realize these storms speed up and slow down, and so you have to keep going back and checking this. They've kind of slowed down to the point where maybe more like 11:51 and 12:03 for Tullahoma. A lot of people, ask here. So I would say Chestnut Ridge, right there on that line, it's going to start getting right into Moore County here very soon, here in the next 10 minutes or so, less than 10 minutes. That line's going to come through. And then there's the rest of the timing for all of uh, Tullahoma and the rest. Yes. So when you're looking at the times right there, I'll zoom in kind of a little bit more on the bigger cities here. So let me zoom out a minute. Tullahoma's right there at 12:04. Lynchburg is at 11:51. Winchester is at 12:13. Estel's at 12:10. My Center Grove people, it's right just a little after midnight. So close to midnight, we're gonna turn into some Eric Clapton, or I guess it was Cream, right? After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out after midnight. So that's what's coming. Storms kind of look like they're behaving a little bit more up here. I'm gonna kind of look and see really what's going on up to the north here. Definitely, you're seeing some reports of thunderstorm damage up here. I just want to look from KOHX, see what's going on. Yeah, it looks like the line's kind of behaving just a little bit better. But again, we've got warnings and all the way down here. And so go back here. We'll have that track on it. Give it a second to reload, and it recalculates too. Somebody said about the Weather Channel app. Well, I don't like the Weather Channel app. Uh, right now, it has shown signs of slowing down for sure, and so it'll be interesting when they re-up this. And again, that was with the National Weather Service why they issued that so far out, because the line was traveling at 75 miles an hour, and so again, when it congealed with those broken line of storms is when it started pumping, and yeah. So needless to say, um, it'll it'll get here sooner rather than later for sure. But it looks like it's kind of slowed itself down. That line has, and I've got to go back to high top because I was like, this doesn't look that impressive. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just a little bit closer to the radar site. Somebody was asking what my favorite app is. Well, if it's radar, I mean, honestly, without the easiest one there is um, radar scope. It's one I've had forever. I don't use that one here. Um, they hit the brakes, seeing a state trooper. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Flash them red lights, them brake lights. It did, but that's okay. That's what's happening in the environment, and so it typically when you have those storms congeal, they strengthen right then and there. It's almost like you just have a moment where gas is on a fire, woof, and then the flame's gone, and it'll slow its little friendly self back down. So what we'll do is we're going to let that run for 9 more minutes, and we're going to see what the National Weather Service decides to do right here, and then we'll go from there as far as what that speed is, because they're saying 50 miles an hour. See, they've updated it, which is good. You can go back in there and see, okay, they've updated it. They're saying 45, they're saying 50. I went ahead and did 45. All right, so winds are getting ready to start cooking. I can actually hear it outside my house. Just a roar. just a low wrong, and it's kind of been that way for a while. I'm pretty sure if there are some loose limbs and trees, and I know my maples have the helicopters on them, they're probably not there anymore. They're flown somewhere. All the local channels have went back to regular programming because they don't do the kind of coverage that I do. That's why. If it's not a tornado warning, I hate to say it, they don't give a crap. And it is what it is. And I think that's why the weather world is changing, and how people like Ryan Hall have kind of revolutionized what weather coverage can look like. Because if I'm being real honest with you, um, I think that a threat like today is worse than a tornado threat because we have more widespread damage overall versus, and I said this in the live stream a couple of weeks ago as we are just kind of watching this roll in. If you think about what damage a tornado does, right? It would just be a little pinpoint on a map, right? I mean, yeah, sure, it does, lots of destruction where it does it, but it's not widespread, right? This kind of event has a lot more surface area, if you will, square mileage to be able to do damage just because the nature of the beast. Oh, somebody said channel 2 hasn't, and somebody said channel 4 is not. Okay. I wonder who went back to regular scheduled programming. Hey, no problem. And it's not. I'm not trying to slam these people because I had a chance to meet. I met Leland Statham a couple of weeks ago. Have a really funny. Well, I met Bree Smith and Lisa Spencer that I think dearly of. I think they're good people. But when you're on TV, you have other. You're not in control, right? And that's kind of the crux of it. Is okay. And if you do have severe weather and you have a tornado and you have a tornado in Franklin County, Tennessee, or if you have a tornado heading toward Davidson County, Tennessee, which one are you covering? And it's a bad position to put people in, but it is what it is. Good. Yeah, it's getting windy. And it's only going to Um, it's only going to get winds are only going to pick up here. So we are really getting close to go time here. So I would make sure guys that are you're in you may not because you're going. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be interesting to see that tag what they change. So let's do a real quick velocity scan. I just want to see what's going on. Really and truthfully, of course, it's getting higher up here. It looks to me like the majority of the bulk winds coming in seem to be over here. It looks to be to the south. When I'm looking at the winds up here, they're not as impressive on the velocity. And we are getting farther away, but we're just a far away on 64. Um, Yep, that's right. Somebody said, and I think that's yeah, personalized coverage. That's that. You're right. Even Ryan Hall on a tornado outbreak, he can't. I mean, he can't keep up with it all. He's trying to cover the nation, and so that's a really hard thing to do. I understand why we're doing it because of viewership, but I don't bite off more than I can chew, and that's why I say Tullahoma more in Franklin because I live in Tullahoma. I am a Moore County graduate and grew up in Moore County. My dad and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law all graduated from Franklin County, and they live in Franklin County. So these are my people. You guys are my people, okay? And so I know these roads pretty well. Probably drove them too fast when I was in high school. Um, Yeah, you guys can probably yeah, you've got some pretty interesting winds. So I could even go here to show you, we've got winds going to, 35, 40 miles an hour. It says it's 62 miles an hour here, but none of that may not be reaching because that would be a severe thunderstorm warning. But you've got all this wind that's up there in the atmosphere. Okay, so just so you know, Tullahoma's about 3,800 feet from that radar site. Okay, so 3,800 feet up, it's 50, 60 mile an hour winds right there. Okay, and so some of that stuff is boom, it is hitting because it is like it's rotating. So if you were um, not in here to see it earlier, the way the wind works, if this is the ground, the wind has a way of rotating like this. They're called convective eddies, by the way. So if your name is Eddie, you are named after a weather phenomena. And so what happens is if the winds up here are cooking, when it's going around, it's going to pick up some of that wind and bring it down. And that's where you get those severe thunderstorm wind gusts. That's why in this situation, it's not going to be every point. Okay, let's just see what they did. Okay, they went ahead and kept that threat considerable. Let's see for just a second. Let's go back up here because I'm going to look at OHX, which is their radar site. Um, it's not looking super duper impressive, but they're just going to go ahead and be on the safe side with that. So they're keeping with that considerable tag. And the Huntsville office has not. I just say treat it as such. So you guys will have to tell me when some winds start howling. And so while we're thinking about it, definitely got us right here on the radar ready to go. That's the reissue of the severe thunderstorm warning, so don't freak out when you hear that. So we've got Tullahoma that we're going to be looking at. Well, I was going to say this. There we go. We're looking at Wilson Avenue. And we've got two more that we're going to be looking at. Yeah, it should be going off. All right. All right. So we've got it covered when this stuff comes in. We're just going to keep on it, guys. You can now see that the storm now see you've got some more. Not that these are really big notches of rotation, but do you see how this all of a sudden doesn't look linear like it did about 10 minutes ago? So to say long story short, it's just how this is like I said, it's how it's interacting with the environment. Wow, look at that big old look at that. Good gracious. They just made this is one big severe thunderstorm warning. Look at that. Good gracious alive. Good for them though. Somebody is replying back to something. Sometimes I miss it when I'm in live mode and somebody sends me something. My phone will go off, but I'm not exactly uh, looking at it. So if I don't get to you, please don't take it personally. There's a lot that I'm trying to juggle at one time, being a one man band here, um, trying to get all the information out. So again, let's see what they said as far as the line is concerned. What did they back it off? They said 40 miles an hour now. And this one's still going at 29 minutes. So let's go ahead and put another track on this at 40 miles an hour. And let's just see timing now. When is it going to get here? It's going to be close. Come on. And we'll turn that to 40, which that's a brand new update. So we can go current with that for sure. All right, so these winds are starting to come right in now to Moore County. Lynchburg proper, that's going to be with you in the next 10 minutes, okay? The next 10 minutes. So just keep that in mind, my Lynchburg people. It's got Jack right down here at 11:53, Lynchburg at 11:56. County line going out Flat Creek, going toward Flat Creek out 82. That's going to be 11:59. Raysville is going to be 12:03. Pleasant Hill is straight up midnight. Ridgeville's going to be 1201. I'll zoom in a little closer if you want. Center Grove is 1208. Tullahoma proper, right there, smack dab where Wilson meets Jackson, is 1212. Bel Air area, west side of town, is going to be at 1210. Anybody up and down 130 right here, it's going to be around 1205 to 1210. Pleasant Grove is 1210. Winchester Springs is 1212. We go all the way over here to Estill. Estill is 1216. Let's go on down here to see Winchester is going to be 1218 right here. Deckard's 1221. And so I think I can do this. I should have just done this. There you go. It has this built in too, which I absolutely love. I like this for the weather-wise. I know that's what Ryan Hall uses. I think this one's better as far as this. And so take a second right here. Where are you at right there? And so that's going to give you pretty much everything that you need. Now I've got it Lynchburg all the way down to Center Grove. Oh, my head's in the way. That doesn't help. I'm not used to my head being in the way. Let's try that again. So, county line, let's see here. Lynchburg right there, 1157. There's all these other communities down through here to kind of give you an idea of when this could be expected to hit you guys. I'm going to kind of scroll it. I think I can make it a little bit longer, but my head's going to kind of be in the way. I can't go too much more than that. There we go. Boom. There we go. Oh, there we go. Can I just do that? There we go. Where are you at? I know that's probably tiny at this point because I'm just curious. Yeah, winds are picking up. Bowling alley side of town, absolutely. It's right at our doorstep, guys. And so I think this is almost better to use this graphic. And so here it comes, guys. It's right here on our doorstep. Western parts of Moore County already seeing that, really. So if we just go up and down the communities that are going to be next, let me turn this off. And that's really what we want to look at. We want to focus on these guys that's going to be hitting first. So if we're looking at where I cover, we are looking right here, 129, almost, well, Boonville area. Okay. So, going back toward Lynchburg on 129 as you guys are, right there where the, garbage dump is. It's going to be making your way right there in the next couple of minutes. It's going to be right at you, Lynchburg. County line, right, that I-55, Highway 55 corridor, and then the Highway 50 as you're going down into Lincoln County. Definitely got a little Boeing action happening right here. So you're seeing those winds want to push out. Hailing in Normandy. Let me zoom back out here. Yeah, you're probably starting to see some of that move in. And so there we go. It's kind of like this is what we're looking at. So county line, you guys the winds have definitely picked up there. Tullahoma, we're getting this little convection, this little rain will be moving out. And so we're probably getting a lot more winds. That winds will still be blowing from the south. We'll feel it. And when I see something good over here on the camera, because I've got it pulled up right now as well, it's nice and calm in Tullahoma, but it won't be for very much longer. I know some of you guys even followed me because you got that video that I sent of that wind coming in. That thing was viewed 20,000 times. All right. All right. The wind just stopped on Tinsford Lake. Yeah, probably moved on the backside. So you're on the backside of some of that storms that just kind of moved out, and they're looking like they want to do. They look like they want to do something. But hang on a minute, everything just went crazy there for a second. My little thing wants to stay down there at the bottom now for for the radar or for the Apple. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden. I will just move it out the way. All right. So, anyways, I'm sorry for that. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden. I'll just make it really small. Wind picking up. Oh yeah, wind's going to be picking up out of this little section right here. So we're right on the doorstep. So Lynchburg, it's on you right now. Those winds have moved in, and sometimes you need to zoom out for just a second to see that bigger picture. So I'm going to go back over to velocity, and let's look at some of these winds that are now. It doesn't say there's a lot of winds there, but we know that there are winds that are blowing up underneath this radar site that are a little bit lower that are blowing faster. So that's why they're like, what? That doesn't look that impressive. That doesn't look like it's doing much. Well, that's because the radar can only see at a certain height. So we're just gonna just pretend this line right here. That's where that wind's gonna be moving in. So Lynchburg, it's right on your doorstep. So Pleasant Hill, Raysville, Center Grove, Ridgeville, you guys, it's barking right up your door. It's right there. It's coming. Um, hey, you want to know this one? Tullahoma. Well, schools are out tomorrow. Yeah, I saw these schools that are closing, and I was like, well, we don't have to worry about that. We're already closed. So right there, it's at 55 right now. So if you were on the road on Highway 55, it's going to be very windy, and I would say maybe pull over for a second because the rain's going to be dang near blinding. Um, Kind of zoom out for just a second, kind of get everything kind of centered in the shot. So it's getting ready to come right up 55 of it's headed toward town. There we go. Sorry, I got people posting a bunch of times on stuff, and you if you want to do that, go get you another page. No disrespect, but you've got to start looking at what's happening right here. Anyways, so let's keep moving on. We're just kind of in the break right here. Those storms, a lot of convection has formed out here, which may really help that atmosphere for these storms out here. I don't know if these are going to strengthen at all. It's interesting that this second line has formed again. But really, the worst of it's right here, kind of at our doorstep. So Lynchburg, it's already on top of you. Pleasant Hill, Raysville, it's right there. Ridgeville and all the areas on the north side of the lake. It's probably on you right now. In Tullahoma, we're going to be next. The Pleasant Grove, Center Grove, the Highway 130 corridor, that North Franklin County area, uh, North Lake area, Dollar General, where that tornado went through on February 28th, 2011. It's going to be that area right there. No, we won't be a gray dot. You are correct. All right, and so we've got the almost probably one of the strongest parts right here. And so I try to look at those returns right here. Hey, that's where a lot of energy's at in the atmosphere. And so that is headed right toward Tullahoma. So we could have some pretty strong winds coming into Tullahoma proper here in just a minute if it stays on its present course. It may go just a little bit north of downtown, but nevertheless, it's definitely going to be definitely going to be something to be watched. And so this will be interesting because I'll try to see what I can get from cameras on this. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that because I remember that too. I was at school not too far away from when that happened. That's about the closest we've been to a tornado at school in a long time. So Raysville, Pleasant Hill, all right, you guys, it's on your doorstep. All right, Tullahoma, Center Grove, Pleasant Grove, guys, we just need to be ready because it's coming. Okay, it's right on our doorstep. All of this is just a severe thunderstorm warning. None of this would be, there could be some embedded rotation. I'll take a really quick look here at Storm Relative. There may be some rotation happening right here over the Hickory Hill, Bakertown area, Ridgeville. But I have to go back and look at it with a velocity couplet. Okay, it's there. Let's see what happens. Storm Relative, it's there. Okay, what's it look like here? You may have a little inflow. There may be something happening right there. In Hickory Hill. Just guys, give you a heads up. I know I'm talking Tullahoma. I'm gonna try to keep everything in line, but my Bakertown people, Ridgeville, it looks like there's just a mild bit of rotation right there on that storm. And so we definitely have to have to keep just a quick eye on that one, and see if it's just going to be a scan or two, and what ends up happening with the National Weather Service office out of Huntsville, what they want to do. So Hickory Hill, Bakertown, Ridgeville, that would be the area that this rotation is in as we start looking at the wind kind of coming in here. And like I said, you got to really pay close attention to these things. So Hickory Hill, yeah, when's the scan? I got to see when the scan was. It was at 11:56. It's 11:59. So I would say already this would be coming across the north side, and see what happened after the next scan. It just kind of went kaput. If I look here, I don't really see anything that looks like it's mildly bothersome now, and that's what happens. That is what happens. All right, so looks like that stuff went a little bit north of town. Um, I can hear the winds, definitely. So Pleasant Hill, Ridgeville, Turkey Creek area, um, Center Grove, Cumberland Springs. It's right on you. Um, I hear it right now at my doorstep. I can hear it. How bad is it? It sounds like white noise outside my house. I would say 60-mile-an-hour winds. There's a considerable threat on the one coming into us at 70 miles an hour. So we're just going to have to keep a close eye. And I will say this, if I all of a sudden go dark, I think you kind of figured out what happens. My power went out. And so if you're beyond this line, I'll try to get back online as quickly as I can, but there's only so much I can do at that point. And so that's just the crux of it. We can't control it. Um, so definitely some howling winds coming up right now for sure. I hear it outside quite a bit. Don't hear any rain just yet, but definitely get that wind because it's fixing to come right up into Tullahoma. So Turkey Creek, Center Grove, you guys, you're next. Tullahoma, you're right there too. And so looks like they want to redo the lines here. They're trying to figure out something here for the National Weather Service office. Uh, okay, go back here. I'm going to look and see, do we have anything that's looking remotely like it's, nope, don't see anything there. That little thing right there was the one I was most concerned about. If hail's approaching, it would be right here in this section north of Raysville. So I'm going to go over real quick. I will in just a second. I've got the camera up, just kind of seeing what it's going to look like when it comes through. Down here, they definitely got some stronger convection that's happening, and that may be a blessing in disguise. That could stabilize the atmosphere, but right now it didn't do it for us. It came in after the fact. So we're within just a couple of minutes here inside of Tullahoma. Definitely heard that first gust of wind. It was howling pretty good. And this scan is a minute old at this point, so it's very current. Uh-huh. Maybe some rotation. Yes, there was some mild rotation. It looks like it's gone now. Doesn't really look like I can see it now. All right. Yeah, it's definitely coming in. I'm looking to see if there's a little notch on this again before I go anywhere else with the camera. Nope, don't see anything yet. And definitely hearing some wind. So we're going to go right back over here to this shot and see what's going on. You can definitely see things are shaking around. And if I could see it from here, not really telling much from this. Sometimes you got to have eyes on the ground to see what's going on. And the cameras help me do that. Uh, Definitely hearing the rain hit sideways for sure. So right now, Tullahoma, West Side Heights, Center Grove, that 130 corridor, Highway 130, it is right at your doorstep now. Any hail that's falling would be less than severe limits. It's at 3/4 of an inch. Severe would be an inch. So the severe thunderstorm warning is for wind, not for hail. Not really seeing anything hit just yet. It will be here shortly, though. Okay. Just kind of watching and waiting at this point. It's right up and down our doorstep. And then Winchester, you'll be next. I'll be watching what happens when it comes into your area. Yeah, because it's raining at my house. And so I guess it would. Yes, there we go. There's some rain on there, but not anything just yet. And there we go. It should be right over the top of us now. Let's see what this look, because I can hear the winds at my above my house right now, cooking pretty good. Got some lightning in there. I was trying to see if I could see anything. Lights, yeah, it's all picking back up. Estill, you got a pretty good little storm over you, but it's not severe at this moment. All right, so here comes the rain. There it comes. You can just see it when the rain all of a sudden starts. So wind's howling, but it's not terribly, terribly impressive right there on camera. You can just see it raining a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to, I'll come back to the radar. And if I need to come back to that, I certainly will. If I see anything of interest happening here, not really anything worth anything. So we're right in Tullahoma. We're getting hit. My side of town, the worst of where from where I live, um, on west side of town, it is the worst of it is kind of really past me, and so we want to worry about Center Grove. Um, and see, there's a broken line there. This part down here, that's kind of mean looking. It's like sometimes you get zoomed in and you need to back out for just a minute and see what's going on. It's almost like they've kind of detached from themselves. But Center Grove, you'd be next in this line. We go back over here to velocity. There we go. Kind of shows you where that line's at. Helps a little bit. Not anything is looking terribly impressive. The most impressive stuff is really down here. That's a good thing. You're still going to get some wins on the backside of this. It's not just one and done. Let me center up Tullahoma again, because that's a great center location to show you everything that's going on. Power flickering, power on and off, lights flickered by West Middle. It's good to know. It's good to know. Um, the I will tell you that the power flickered at also too. Um, with the light 2 camera, because it's out. It is trying to refresh itself. It is out. Now it's back in. Yeah, it definitely got some yeah, it's going in and out right now. Power's flickering. It's messing up the cameras. So there it is. Yeah, that would be it. I would say Estill, yeah, y'all did get some stuff. Loud wind. Lake Hill's still relatively quiet. That's good to know. Lake Hills, it would if it's relatively quiet, that wind did not get reached to you guys because Lake Hills is already past that line. So I would say anybody in Tullahoma, that initial line, but there is some heavy rain happening in Tullahoma right this very second. I would love to have that camera out. Power's out. Somebody said their power's out. Definitely make sure you guys are double checking when the power's out. Y'all let me know where that's at. That'll be good to know. We can get that report